Oh, that's got to go back further. Oh, there we go. Can everybody see me? Of course you can. And oh my goodness, now we're live and stuff.
And we're actually on time.
No, we're not. We're 3 minutes late.
Closer than usual.
Yes.
6 minutes late.
You got your time, I got my time. Anyway, enough of that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Hello! Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Wanted to take time to thank everybody for tuning in. And just grateful that everybody's able to stop in, check it out. Grateful for all the people that listen to the weekly podcast. Want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company for being the bandwidth sponsor. Want to take time to thank Sean and the gang over at Firearms Radio Network. Greatly appreciate it all. So, and just grateful for everything everybody does to help out the network. So, anyway, shotgun shell. See, I reloaded something this week, and I taught somebody else how to do it.
Best way to support the Second Amendment there is.
Yep. So what's everybody else done?
So this week I casted probably 2,000 projectiles from my NOE 9mm mold.
Nice.
Powder coated them, loaded them up, filled up a nice 50 caliber ammo can. Also had a little get together at one of our local gun stores with a bunch of vendors and handed out a bunch of free stuff. Didn't go shooting.
Yeah, it happens.
I, on
Did you
the
do
other hand,
anything
did manage
this
to go
week?
shooting.
Again, Phil?
Yep, I went out and unloaded some ammo. Shot a bunch with my 38, starting to slowly make peace with it. I've identified an issue I have with the double action pull, but now that I figured out what the problem is, I think I can start working on solving it. And other than that, I've celebrated my own podcast 2-year anniversary. So we've lasted about 23 months longer than anybody thought we would.
Congratulations, sir.
Yep, congrats.
Appreciate
I
it.
listened to the Glenn Tate and podcast, and I liked it.
Yeah, that every now and then we catch just the right set of guests, and it really clicks together well, and that was a good one. We interviewed Angry American the very next episode too. So
Oh,
if
nice.
you're
Go download
if
that
you're into
one.
authors in that genre, yep, episode 79, and we just did our live show this past Monday. So, but other than that, just been doing the usual, rattling cages and trying to keep this operation over here moving forward. Jim, what were you up to? Did you reload? Did you shoot?
No. But my wife, Marissa, discovered my NRA patron level membership statue, and then today she found my 4 handgun shooting trophies. And then this afternoon, my favorite nephew has been asking me on how to get information on rebarreling and restocking his post 64 Model 70.
That'd be a pretty one.
Yep. I sort of steered him in the direction of the Boyd's laminated stocks direction, because I love laminated stocks. I'm very biased that way, but they're stable, and they have the warmth of wood and they have the stability of synthetic, and they're way stronger than any just regular stock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Boyd does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, did you do anything?
I loaded a couple shot shells and taught somebody how to, kind of showed somebody the process. So that's all I did, really. Oh, I did load some 9.
You get your 550 set back up?
Yeah.
Well, that's all important information, Mike.
Well, it was set up, so I got it all set up and running.
Oh, after we tore you down 6 or 8 times?
Yeah.
Well, you know how to set it up now.
Mm-hmm. That, and I'm working on trying to get this as a secondary video source.
Yay.
So that way, when we're showing off stuff, we can get really good quality instead of the crap that we have right now. So that's
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I the echo point?
No, I believe it's the slacker from California that just rejoined the show.
Can you hear me now?
He just killed whatever
Beautifully.
echo we had. Yeah, you sound great, Jason. Well, you sound better.
Oh, I heard you the first time, Jim.
Well, we didn't say you look. We didn't say you looked good. We said you sound good.
I am brutally handsome, Phil. I'll have you know.
You're half right.
See, Jason's thinking back to the Middle Ages where fat people were sexy.
Look, I'm waiting for the Middle Ages to come back. Okay, this is not dad bod. This is pure 100% sexy. I'm just ahead of my time.
Damn right.
Hey, I'm really good at keeping people warm in the winter. I got that going for me.
There you go. Winter's longer than summer.
Not around here.
No, not there. You need to move a little farther north then.
Nope. Nope. Hate snow. No.
Do you even have snow in Louisiana?
Last couple of years, yeah, we've had like an inch, 2.
Must be up
I
around
know.
the airport.
No, down here.
Yeah.
I have pictures of, I think, last year, or the year before, I can't remember which, but there was like 2 inches of snow in my front yard here just north of New Orleans. My wife made a little foot tall snowman.
That's awesome.
No, it wasn't. 2 inches of snow shut the entire New Orleans metro area down for 2 days.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
did it
Carl.
here. Did here in North Carolina, Sanford. They shut down. They got an inch of snow and they shut down. They got 5 inches of snow and they shut the whole damn township down for 3 days.
Yeah. Well, I had to hear a lot of grousing from friends of mine that live further up north about that. And like I point out to them, when you don't have salt trucks, snow tires, chains, an inch or 2 of snow and some ice on the ground, that's all it takes.
Yep.
I mean, we don't. It's like flash flooding around here is catastrophic, but we deal with it often enough to kind of get an idea of how to get around it. Snow, no. We get snow like every 5 to 7 years, and when we do, it's an event.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're dealing with some flash flooding up here. So,
Well,
Monday night, we got 11 inches of rain
Ow.
Dang.
that'll do it.
in about 12 hours. And since then, we've gotten another 5. Not this past Monday. Sorry, a week ago Monday. And then they're expecting the storms that are rolling through now, thankfully tracked a little north, so not hitting us. Unfortunately, they're hitting the area that just got 8 inches over the weekend. But we're expected to get another 3 to 4 in the next 2 days. Even the lakes, the Madison lakes, I don't know if anybody who's ever been to Madison knows we've got lakes. The isthmus is flooding East Washington Avenue, which is the main thoroughfare in and out of the town from the east side, has been shut down most of the week for flooding. The river normally runs under a bridge around East Wash, and there is enough room from the river to the top of the bridge for boats to go under, like ski boats and pleasure boats and stuff, because there's a system. And it's now flooded. So if that gives you an idea of how much we've gotten, they're very troubled that the dam and lock system that is at the bottom of the end of the lake that lets that river flow is going to fail if we get much more rain. So,
or they'll have to open it to alleviate the pressure and then flood everything downstream of it. It's not great options either way.
no, because it's all city.
Yeah,
And it's
well
mostly
at that.
so
Yeah, we've dealt with that more locally, and at that point, what the local planners, the decision becomes either we control the flooding
Yep.
or we don't control the flooding because
Yeah.
the water's going to go someplace.
they've had weed cutters out in the rivers all week, trying to make sure that they keep the rivers flowing as fast as they possibly can. So, yeah, it's a giant mess. I mean, nothing near what you guys went through back in 05, but it's
We caught it back in 2016, arguably worse.
oh, that's right, you did. I forget about that one.
Yeah, that I was actually just commenting on my 2-year anniversary show. That was the weekend I started my podcast.
Yeah,
Because we took a couple of days off of work because the concern was if we got to work and then the water rose, nobody could be able to get home.
that's what
So
happened.
so we all opted to take a couple of days off of work and everybody stay home and stay off the roads. And it was over that long weekend that I started the podcast because I was looking at all the flooding, all the disaster, and I'm like, these people have no freaking clue what to do with this. That's when the Matter of Facts podcast started.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of those 2016 floods in Southeast Louisiana.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so it's definitely gives you new perspective on things.
I just want to say, guys, I am actually kind of looking forward to Cartridge Corner this week.
It's a good one.
I don't own one, which I need to remedy at some point.
I think we all need to at some point in time if we don't own one.
Yeah, my dad has one. It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
I don't know. I've shot them and they're a lot of fun, but I don't think they're the most fun you can have with your clothes on because a happy switch makes it a hell of a lot more fun.
I got that at my sister shooting belt feds in the Army, so
Yeah, well,
different perspectives, I guess.
right. So
A happy switch on a revolver, it wouldn't last very long.
no, but a happy switch on an M4. Well, M4 is okay because it's a 3-round burst. A happy switch on an AK-47 with a big fireball coming out the barrel. Now that's a good time.
Honestly, if you can get one to run reliably, and the older ones were kind of dogs, but the newer ones are decent, but an M249 saw,
Yeah,
that's a world of fun.
that looks like that would be a world of fun.
Yeah, its cyclic rate is so much faster than like an M240 Bravo or an M60 that it doesn't really shoot full auto. It just zips through a belt.
Nice.
Wow. And it still shoots 5.56 NATO.
Yep. And I can't speak for the new ones because I haven't handled one since like 2004, I think. 03 when I was still a saw gunner. But they had the little receptacle on the side where you could stick a standard 30-round box magazine inside of them if you were out of drums, which that didn't last long.
Yeah.
It was like as fast as you could get one in the machine gun, you could hit the release and pull it back out. All the ammunition was gone.
Gee.
I believe it. I got
Anyway.
to shoot in a Gev.
What's the recoil like on the saw anyway?
Honestly,
Just a gentle push, I would think.
I wouldn't call it gentle because the cyclic rate, it tends to want to climb and push you. But here's the thing of it. You got to bear in mind that it's well over double the weight of like a full size M16A1. So if you've ever shot an M16A1 or any of the later variants that went back to full auto, imagine that with an extra 10 pounds on it. They really are not unmanageable from the shoulder, but it's a heavy weapon from the shoulder. It's really at its best on a bipod or on a mount. But you can shoot them from the shoulder. You just better lean into it.
I have the M16A1. It was actually the M16A3. I fired both, but whatever. That's not what this show's about.
What my talking about was going to be September 15th, Mount Carroll, Illinois. If you're within driving distance, swing on up. Go to Manticore Arms webpage, and they have all about it. It's the Bullpup Shoot 2018. They're going to have all sorts of full auto fun stuff there. It's basically $10 for whatever capacity magazine that the firearm uses, and away you go. So you can they'll also have spots for you to bring your own toys and play with at the range. And it's just a fun day. So I highly recommend it, and I will be there. So definitely check it out.
Have a good time, Mike.
It's going to be a blast. All right. Jim, what's up in the cartridge corner tonight?
Oh, that thing again. Well, I decided to take and run with the 44 Remington Magnum cartridge. But I discovered something tonight when I was researching it on Wikipedia. There is an old cartridge called 44 Remington Centerfire. You have to make a huge distinction between the two cartridges. 44 Remington Centerfire, 44 Remington Magnum. Which actually, it sounds like I'm going to go with the parent case on that. Well, that's not the case. Let me read what I have here that I've actually extracted from Wikipedia. The 44 Remington Centerfire cartridge is a rather anemic round, to be kind, and the much more robust, more powerful than the 44 Magnum. The name Elmer Keith might be new to newcomers to reloading, but Mr. Keith, Smith & Wesson, and Remington collaborated and eventually created the 44 Remington Magnum cartridge using 44 Special, which is the child case from the 44 Russian, as a parent cartridge of the 44 Magnum. In other words, the 44 Russian, then you had the 44 Special, which is a longer case, then the 44 Magnum, which is an even longer case. And there's a little surprise here. The surprise is that the 44 Magnum cartridge debuted in the Smith & Wesson Model 29. When they made it, they built the gun back in December 1955. But they made it public for sale or whatever they were doing back in January 1956. And of course, we all know that the Model 29, the older ones of us anyway, was made famous by the Dirty Harry series of movies starring Clint Eastwood. As far as I personally am concerned, I really got into the 44 Magnum because I decided to buy a Thompson Center Contender barrel, Super 14 barrel for my Contender, from a friend or someone had a barrel of Super 14 barrel, and I just decided to take and get something a little bit more energetic than the 357 Magnum. And then, of course, now I also have a Ruger Super Blackhawk 7.5-inch barrel. It takes me about a half hour to clear leather with that hog leg, and I wound up buying that from my boss up in Pennsylvania several years ago. Those are the two 44 Magnums that I own. I fire and cast and fire exclusively the Keith 250 grain semi-wad cutter. Elmer Keith, the name I mentioned earlier, he is the guy that created this particular bullet. It has a sharp square shoulder, has a grease groove, and of course another driving band underneath of that, and it has a rather heavy, wide meplat on the nose of the bullet, and it's got a bit of a real gentle curvature between the meplat and that shoulder. It's a fairly attractive bullet. If you like lead bullets, to my way of thinking, that particular style of semi-wad cutter, and they do come in 357 flavor, guys. All you got to do is look around. But that particular bullet's one of my favorite cast bullet designs. And I included the link to the original article on the 44 Magnum from Wikipedia. And yes, some people have just sort of discredited or disparaged Wikipedia because anybody with an email address can edit any article. That's true. But you know what? There's also ways of corroborating it. I don't know if we can lock it down, but there's ways of corroborating. Most people are good people and they put good information out on the Wikipedia stuff. So I trust it as far as my knowledge is concerned. I don't make it my only source of information, of course. But anyway, that's it for me. Anybody else? What about you guys? You guys shoot 44 Magnum? Jason, I know, has a 44 caliber firearm that can shoot those semi-wad cutters.
Yep, I got a revolver, and then I have that Desert Eagle, but you're not supposed to shoot cast through it, so I don't.
Well, don't you still have that 444 Marlin?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you have shot those semi-wad cutters through that, haven't you, Jason?
I have. Pretty darn well, too.
What do you mean, buddy?
It shoots pretty nice groups at a pretty high rate of speed.
Ooh, as in it leaves a mark?
Oh, it'll leave a mark. Yes, sir. It'll put a welt on your arm.
Not with recoil, though.
No, actually, the recoil is nice. Not a problem.
How about you, Travis? You shoot 44 mag?
No, I don't. I'd like to.
And Phil says his dad shoots 44 mag, right?
Yes, my father has what I refer to as the mobile artillery piece. It's a Ruger Super Red Hawk.
Ooh,
I think it's 8 3/4-inch barrel. I mean, it's like a Joker gun with a loophole 2X pistol scope on top, and it is it's impressive to look at. But I have to admit, I have very mixed feelings when I shot it for the first time because everybody that I'd ever talked to refers to 44 Magnum as being like this almost uncontrollable holy beast of a round. And in a large revolver like that, large frame, a lot of weight, long barrel, I actually found it manageable. I mean,
oh yeah,
it'll rock you, but if you have a decent shooting technique, it's shootable and it's fun. Like, it took me less than a cylinder to decide I must have one day. I'm just waiting for the checking account and the savings account to, meet in the middle on that.
You just made a point, Phil. Just reminded me of something. That's one thing I wanted to talk about that I forgot to include in the beginning, and that is when I shoot those cast bullets out of that 44 Magnum Super Blackhawk I have. Well, the first time I did that, I didn't have my bullets crimped tightly enough in the cases, and the cases actually pulled off of the bullet. No, it's not the bullets pulled out of the case. It's the case pulled off the bullet. Why? Because of recoil. Recoil slams into that brass rim, which is stronger than the lead, and it drives the case back off of the bullet. In other words, what I'm saying is it jammed up my gun like a big dog. I actually had to take I had to take a little brass rod and start driving reseating bullets just so I could index the cylinder to get those loose bullets out of the chamber and tighten up the crimp on them and put them back in. That's exactly what I did because I was set up for that particular cartridge that day.
Yeah, and the one thing you kind of glossed over talking about the history of the cartridge that I've read Elmer Keith's book. I can't remember the name of it. Save my life. I think it was Six Guns.
No,
which
it's Hell I Was There.
Are you saying you were there, or that's the name of the book?
The title of the book is Hell I Was There.
Hang on a second. Nope. The book I'm referring to is called Six Guns by Elmer Keith.
My mistake.
But in any case, I think what always stuck out to me about this cartridge, because Elmer Keith's kind of semi-legendary in my mind in the hand loader, reloader community, because, I mean, he's one of the patron saints of what we do. He was experimenting with stuff and he pushed the ragged edge of hand loading in his day to cause a manufacturer of firearms to produce a firearm there had never been before, and convince that manufacturer and an ammunition manufacturer to create a cartridge because he was not satisfied with what he was able to load before he blew a cylinder in half. Which, I mean, I don't know. I guess I look at that and I think to myself, with a tinkerer's heart, I'm like, it's just impressive to me that he was so dogged and determined that in hot rodding the 44 Special that he eventually destroyed a firearm and managed to twist two manufacturers to do his bidding and create this cartridge. I mean, who else in hand loading can even lay claim to that?
Well, remember, it's all about follow the money. You know, he convinced them that they would make money with this particular cartridge. That's the long and the short of it. You know, I realize I've oversimplified the situation, but they saw a market, they saw a niche, they decided to fill it. And it's been going strong ever since.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add a Super Blackhawk to my, or a Ruger Blackhawk to my lineup sooner or later.
You Super Red Hawk or Super Blackhawk or Blackhawk?
What's the difference between a Blackhawk and a Super Blackhawk if it's short and doesn't completely screw up the show?
Just heavier frame.
I'd have to look at the two of them. I mean, I like a Red Hawk. My dad has one, and it's a tank. But I don't know, something about a single action Blackhawk that just kind of catches my eye.
Right. There's a distinction between the Super Red Hawk and the Red Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Super Red Hawk has that shroud over the threads. And well, it's not a shroud, it's actually cast metal.
Yeah, the frame extends to cover the
looks sort of like a snub nose with a long barrel sticking out of it.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Anyway.
I
hope that piques everybody's appetite for the 44 Magnum.
Oh, and I can also say that they are quite a thumper out of a lever action. Because my dad had to go out and get a Henry chamber 44 mag.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, it'll rock you. It's a world of fun, but it's impressive that a pistol or a revolver cartridge out of a longer barrel can thump that hard.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil. This is a different caliber, but I have a Marlin 1894C for my 357 cartridge, and I also shoot it out of my Dan Wesson. And I gain 600 feet per second in velocity when I fire from the carbine as opposed to the revolver.
What
620 unique. Yeah, 600 feet per second.
I'd have thought with a faster powder you wouldn't gain that much velocity. That's interesting.
Well, longer barrel always means higher velocity.
To a point of diminishing returns, yes.
Right, and that's like 32, 36 inches. That's way out there. But no, and that sealed barrel, remember it's a carbine, lever action carbine, and it's sealed barrel and all that. I get everything the gun gives me.
That's a good point. You don't have any cylinder gap like a revolver.
Exactly. So yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. One of these days I might find myself on the rear end of a Henry big boy.
They're a hoot. Pay attention to the instructions, especially the loading procedure.
In other words, hold on to the damn gun well?
No. Let's say that if you don't follow the instructions and you load that magazine tube with the action open, you'll hate your life later.
Okay.
Let's just leave it right there. You'll hate yourself later
I've
when you
never
have to
done-
disassemble.
never-
When you have to disassemble your rifle to get a cartridge out of the action that went where it shouldn't have gone.
No, Travis. I said might find myself on the rear end, on the butt end of a Henry big boy.
Smart aleck.
Yeah. Who invited you anyway, Travis? You dog.
Pretty sure one of y'all did.
Guilty.
Look at Mike with a smug look on his face. He's glad he invited Travis. Oh, Jiminy.
Well, if Phil wasn't going to go there, I had to.
No, I was being a professional podcaster for a change.
Oh, okay.
Bullshit.
I did say for a change. I do that occasionally.
Anyway,
Did I
So
say?
is that 44? Is that 44 one that you cast for?
yes, sir, it is. I have a Lyman 429, 421 mold. That's the original. Yeah, look out. There goes the lady. Anyway, I have Lyman number 429, 421 mold. I have a 4-cavity mold for that, and I absolutely love that thing. It's heavy, and Mike's going to open a beer. And you're disgusting, Mike. Smithwick, whatever brewery that is. Anyway, yes,
Yeah, it seems like it would be a really perfect cartridge to cast for.
It is. It takes a lot of lead, 250 grains every time I throw one. But it's a lot of fun too. Of course, too, remember the 44 Magnum at the muzzle is just as powerful as the 30-06 is at 100 yards. So you're not piddling around with a little pipsqueak 22 short or maybe a CB cap. You're playing with a serious cartridge. But anyway, yeah, when I cast 4 of them at a time, that's 1,000 grains of lead.
Yeah, when I cast for the 45, I just hate how quick that pot drains. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you should cast for 3.7 Magnum, stretches it out a little further.
Yeah, it's in between 9mm and 45 ACP,
I
158
need to
grains.
cast.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was gonna say I need to cast for things I actually have, Phil.
No, you need to buy firearms for things you cast. It's you backwards.
Yeah. See.
That's my whole justification for wanting to get, more guns. Is I have all this powder out in the garage and I have to find something to do with it.
Man, just off topic. When I was at our local gun shop, they did these giveaways, or not giveaways, these sales every 30 minutes. So they had a Kimber 1911, regularly priced at $860. So for that 30-minute window, they were selling it for $400.
What?
It took all I had. They only had 3 of them, and it took all I had to not go pick one up.
What kind of Kimber?
I just seen it from a distance. It was like the 4-inch.
Officer model.
I don't know.
I think Kimber refers to it as the Pro, and the Ultra is the really small one. If I remember Kimber speak, I have a Kimber, but it's a custom TLE RL2. But I don't know. I'm up and down on Kimbers. The older ones are really, really, really good. A lot better than their reputation. I think a lot. But they don't get the credit they deserve. The older ones do. But I've seen some real stinkers in the last several years. So it's kind of like, yeah, and that's the thing about that's why I hesitate to recommend somebody buy a Kimber. Is if you buy one, you have to be able to know what you're looking at to see if it's a good gun or not. Preferably shoot the stupid thing. If it goes through a magazine of like 230 grain ball without choking, it's probably an okay gun. But I like I said, I've got one that's really reliable. I cannot say that for all of them. And that's hurtful because I really like that gun.
Tough choice. Tough choice.
buy a reliable gun. That's all.
Alrighty, guys. So the first question is could be into a really long discussion, and I'd really want to kind of get to some of the other ones. So we're going to table that first one for next week. I want to thank Jim for slapping together some show notes tonight. That was awesome. Thank you. So first question I'm going to cover is from Rusty. And he said, is there any difference when loading lead versus non-lead bullets of the same weight? Do powder charges stay the same, and should I worry about the bearing surface being different? First off, yes, you have different load data because you typically, unless you're using gas checks, can't push lead as fast as you can a jacketed bullet. Otherwise, what can happen, Jason?
You can overpressure your gun.
Yep. What else can happen if you try?
Leading.
Okay.
Yeah, you can lead your barrel.
How's that happen?
Push the bullet fast enough that the lead starts to melt as the bullet's traveling down the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Gas cutting is what it's called.
Gas cutting. Thank you.
You get lead build up enough. You get enough lead build up in the barrel that it will actually start creating a partial obstruction, if not a complete obstruction, to the path of the next bullet.
Yep.
So one good fix for that is powder coating.
Yep.
Well, I was going to approach the question from a little different perspective, and that would be the lead versus non-lead, as in jacketed bullets. Well, you've also got to consider, Rusty, that the tensile strength of the lead versus the tensile strength of the copper, that when it goes to deform in the barrel, to conform to the rifling of the barrel, that's also a big factor.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, Jim, is the hardness of the lead and matching your hardness, your alloy, to your velocity and what you're shooting. So a rifle, you would generally want something harder. Pistol, you can usually kind of go more on the softer end, so it conforms to your rifling.
Very good, Travis. Thank you, sir.
And I can't say this from personal experience because I don't shoot anything cast as of yet. But what's been intoned to me is also that because you're dealing with a lead bullet versus a jacketed bullet, that the crimp is slightly different. A lot of people have recommended to me that you crimp much harder with the lead. And,
No.
Don't crimp harder on the lead?
No.
You'll kind of damage that lead a little bit.
What I was told, and it makes a certain amount of sense, is because lead is so much more malleable than the copper jacket is, that the concern is that the lead bullet would actually release from the case with less pressure, but it would also have a tendency to set back if the crimp weren't hard enough. I don't shoot cast bullets, guys. That's why I said I can't speak from personal experience.
I shoot cast bullets almost exclusively in my handguns, and I don't have any problem setting back. But the problem I have had, I mentioned in the cartridge corner, having the bullet pull out of the case due to recoil, because of the gun slamming the case backwards. You follow what I'm saying, Phil? Okay, Phil's shaking his head, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't get my mute to come off for a second. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just like Jim. I exclusively shoot lead, but I do powder coat mine.
Okay. I have yet to fool with powder coating.
Yeah, you gotta try it, Jim. I'm hoping to get a guy on, Full Lead Taco.
Mm-hmm.
You can check him out on YouTube and kind of go over casting and powder coating and kind of get you to try some out sometime.
Well,
I know you like that A-lock stuff.
Yes,
so
I do.
I think we can get you convinced to try something else.
Only if it's as easy as the A-locks.
Well, it's better.
Excuse me.
You were saying something, Mike?
No. I was just saying exactly. Powder coating is quite a bit more difficult than the ALOX. So,
Thank you.
but it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, Jim, we'll just get your toaster oven out. I'll send you some powder coating, and we'll try this out, and you tell me if you think it's that much more difficult.
Oh,
You
I
can
can tell
cook your toast in the morning and some bullets same time.
see, I can tell you from knowing how he does the ALOX from previous casting shows that there is no way on God's green earth powder coating is easy. Because once you do the shaking step for powder coating that you would have to do with ALOX, then you have more steps to do, whereas with ALOX, you're done.
Yep.
Yeah, I did ALOX for years, but I just hated how sticky it was, and I would have it gum up my seating die.
Oh, yeah. Well, that just takes regular maintenance. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
No, Mike is right. I love the liquid ALOX. All I got to do, I can lubricate 1,000 bullets, prep up 1,000 bullets in 10 minutes. How about you, Travis? Can you move them that fast?
Not that quick, but like I've been telling you, I cast up, like the other day, I cast up 2,000 projectiles.
Yes, sir.
I sent you guys that picture, and I think I showed you a before and after. So it probably took me, I do 300 projectiles at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and I bake them for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Well, then you probably can get 1,200 bullets powder coated. I'm sorry, 900 bullets powder coated in 60 minutes. Because I know you're going to have tear down time, load up time, and all that in between, breakdown time in between each batch of 300. So I'll give you 300 round batches per hour.
yeah, I have a gigantic oven though I'm working on right now, so I could probably do 2,000 at once.
Sounds good.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. I don't mind the sticky mess. I never have, never will. And if it's really that big of a problem, just get a rag with a drop or two of kerosene on it, and wipe off that bullet nose. That's all you got to do.
Have you seen very many videos of guys on YouTube doing the powder coating methods?
No, to tell you the truth, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, it's not as difficult as you think, but there's a couple of ways to do it. I like to stack my bullets on their bases, and some guys actually just throw a whole pile in on like a mesh basket, and they actually don't stick to each other, and they're doing 500-600 at a time.
I see.
We'll do
Like I say, I'm hoping.
coating.
I'm hoping we'll do a couple episodes on casting, and we got something to give away when we do that episode. Something really awesome.
Yeah, we'll get to casting. We're just going to wait for the temperature to get a lower first. Because I am not casting bullets in 90-degree heat. Sorry.
Oh, Jim, I got a, what do you call it? The tinsel fairy?
Yeah, Tinsel Fairy. She's a bitch.
Oh, man, I was casting in flip-flops. And I got a huge drop right on the top of my foot. It's probably a quarter size, and it is, that tinsel fairy.
You're not alone on this podcast, Travis.
I think somebody deserves the chance to laugh heavily at Travis for not learning from that story.
Travis, Jason, speak up, my man. You got experience. Let's hear what you got to say, brother.
Travis, aren't you smart enough to learn from other people's mistakes? Have you not been following this podcast long enough?
But I do not remember this story, Jason. Maybe we should hear it again.
Okay. Well, I too was in shorts and flip flop, and
I got to mute.
Oh, laid that one right up the
in the
Travis.
pot and stirring it. something happens. I don't know what it was. I have this spasm and I pull my hand out with the ladle still attached and I throw lead back at myself. And I don't know, size of a 50-cent piece, a quarter, I don't know what it was. Landed on my knee and some down at my foot. And so I got to take a picture of it first before I take it off. And yeah, it hurts, but I got to take a picture of it. So I take a picture of it and then I peel it off my skin and throw it back in the pot because I don't want to waste lead. But
Oh no.
yeah, you should learn from other people's mistakes.
I'm stubborn. I don't wear gloves. I still wear flip flops. Yeah, I'm horrible.
Well, I hope and pray to God, I'm really sincere about this, Travis. You at least wear eye protection or face protection. You cast bullets without at least even glasses on?
Officially,
The answer is yes. Say yes, Jim.
everybody always wear your PPE. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yep.
Question is, are you going to wear it next time? Okay, just making sure.
Well, the one part Jason didn't tell you was he posted that picture of his knee and his flip-flops with the lead down between his toes in the reloading room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The worst is when you're casting, when you're like, because I water quench. So the worst is if you're casting and you get a drop of water into your pot.
That's right. You'll cause an instantaneous steam explosion.
Oh, yes.
It's horrible.
Yep. Keep water away.
The Tinsel
why-
Fairy has nailed me 3 times.
Hmm.
Once was right between the eyes with a bead that wasn't the size of the head of a pin, and I thought sure I got slammed by a ball peen hammer.
Mhm.
Right
Dang.
between the eyes, on the forehead. Oh my God!
That's why I don't cast. I'm too pretty to get splashed with molten lead.
Shit! In your case, the Tinsel Fairy had better your looks, Phil.
Little scarring here, a little there.
Hey, chicks dig scars.
You'd be
That's right.
pretty.
Anyway, yes, I agree with Travis. Everybody wear your PPE. Don't do as Travis does or Jason.
Yeah,
Well,
when Jim, when you've been doing something for so many years, you start slacking on the basics of what you should be doing, and every once in a while, that tinsel fairy will get you.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we have a few casting questions today, too.
Yes, we do. Which is where we're
We
headed.
Amen. Go ahead, Mike, please.
Okay. So Daniel posted, new to casting, I have about 900 pounds of range scrap. Not gonna
Wow.
lie, kind of jealous. And how would I prepare these large muffin pans for making ingots? I have a burner and cast iron pan to melt and clean the lead. Just need to know if I have to do anything to these before. Yes, you need to wash them with some sort of degreasing agent and then make sure that they are bone dry. We're talking like the middle of the Mojave Desert, and it hasn't rained for 9 years dry.
Like maybe toss them in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes. Boil any water left on them out of them.
Absolutely. Fabulous.
So that is true, but depends on how you're doing it. If you do have some moisture on your lead and you put it in your like a fresh pan or pot or whatever your container is, and then you turn that on, you're going to warm up your container, which is going to evaporate the moisture before the lead melts. You just never ever want to take molten lead and then introduce any kind of moisture into that, or like Jim said, it will explode.
Mm-hmm.
Including sweat dripping off your forehead into your pot as you're looking down into it.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God.
Lead's
Any more-
worse than grease when it comes to water.
Yep.
Grease, you can get away with a drop or two without it blowing all over the place. No such luck with lead. Literally, one drop of sweat is enough to cause a pot to blow.
Awesome.
Well, let me say this about what you said. I've actually put liquid on top of the lead, very gently, on top of the molten lead, and all it does is boil off.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is dropping a wet bullet or a wet piece of lead into the pot where it's going to go below the surface, and that water is going to be submerged. It will immediately turn to steam, and then you're going to have a nasty steam explosion.
Yeah. So if you're using either you're not using a bottom pour and you're dipping a ladle in, and you go to squirt those, schlep the label across.
Yep.
You've got that lead moving. One drop of sweat has the complete and absolute opportunity to get down below.
Yep.
Easily. So another reason not to cast when it's warm out. But yeah, you just want to make sure they're clean. And that's kind of the basic, making sure it's clean and dry. Next question. Paul posted, could I, in theory, put my cast bullets in my case trimmer with a drill bit in place of the guide to make a hollow point from a semi-wad cutter? Theoretically, yes. Is there a high chance that it's going to be off-center?
Yes.
I think
Chance
honestly,
of going through all the way also.
I think if you really want to go that direction, your best bet's a mini lathe. That way you can set the depth and you can make sure you're concentric. But I don't see that getting done with like anything handheld.
Just buy a mold.
Well,
Yeah,
hang on, guys.
If your best bet's just to order a mold. There's certain companies that'll custom make you a mold, and you can get different depths of pins for your different, depth on your hollow point.
Well, hang on, guys, because
Let's hear from a machinist. What do you?
there is a company called Forster Trimmers that trimmer is actually pretty close to a mini lathe, Phil. And would they actually make an attachment for exactly that? You can take and get your Forster trimmer with a collet, a cone that goes over the bullet nose, and you can go in there with a center drill. And Travis, that's exactly what you don't do, is you don't even dare go through the bullet. That would take a lot of drilling, because you're talking, that's at least 5/8 of an inch that you've got to go down through. So with a center drill, you're just going to make a nice wide cavity with a little tiny dinky hole in there, and that's it.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, Jim. I just know from working with metal, you'd be surprised when you're drilling a hole that drill bit can just catch and just take off through your material.
That's if you're using an ordinary conventional drill bit. But a center drill, you're going to stop when you reach the end of the funnel. By the funnel, I'm talking about the 60-degree chamfer that's always on those things, and when you go into full diameter. Yes, you can overdo it, but that's on the individual drilling.
Yeah, personally, I think if you just spent like a good mold, you could probably $100. Just buy one and problem solved. You got 900 pounds to play with. You're gonna want to get some good molds anyway.
True.
Yep. Definitely spend the money on the molds. Just for consistency's sake, because even with how good Forster stuff is, there's always that chance. So,
yeah, there used to be a guy, Loads of Bacon on YouTube. He had quite a few. They're brass molds. I forget what company made them, and they got different depths of pins, and they look pretty interesting. Since YouTube's policy change, I don't know if he still has those videos up or not.
yeah. So, next question is from Dave. And Dave posted, anyone using regular lube grooved pistol and then a liquid lube as well on top of regular stick lube? Had the idea to run 146 or 147 RCBS 9mm through my Star Sizer using 50/50 A-locks and then roll them in a 45/45/10 liquid lube.
That's what you call overkill on lubrication. In other words, fill the grease screw with a normal conventional lubricator sizer, then tumble lube the bullets with this 45-45-10 mixture, whatever the numbers are.
Yeah.
That's double lubrication. That's not needed. The only place you need to do a double lubrication is when you size a rifle bullet. You need the lubrication on there to begin with to drive it through the press through or the size through push through sizing die. Then you coat them again after you wipe off the lube on the driving bands.
Yeah, that sounds like something Phil would do with his OCD.
I own that.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry, are you waiting for an argument or me to be insulted? I am very OCD. We know this. But I haven't blown a gun up and I haven't lost any fingers, so it's working for me.
I only lost one.
Yeah, but you did that to yourself when you got married.
Yeah. I lost more than that.
Oh, my dad's going to watch this and rat me out to my wife. I can see it now.
Yeah, he's definitely watching already. So he's
already watching, Phil.
I didn't see him in the... Oh, yeah, there he is. Hi, Dad.
See, here's the thing with marriage is you get married, you give everything to the wife, and then you spend the rest of the marriage getting everything back. That's how that works.
Really? Damn, she lied to me.
Sucker. All right, next up is from Jason. Jason posted a quick question for you guys. If you've deprimed and resized your brass, then reprimed, can you run the brass at a vibrating tumbler? Or will this damage the new primers? I'm asking before doing.
Nope.
I do it all the time.
No.
Wait a second. He's talking about with before you put the bullet on it. That's begging for media in the flash hole.
Yep.
Because I've seen it.
The primer.
I mean, if you dry tumble your brass before you deprime, tell me how many times you've seen a piece of media sitting right in the flash hole, embedded down in there. You don't want that between your primer and your powder. You are begging for a squib. Trust me.
Travis, do you really tumble your brass after you put a primer in it? But not.
I have. Yeah, I have quite a few times. So I put it in. I have tumbled it, cleaned it up, sized, primed it, put it back into the corn cob, tumbled it again, pull it out, run it through the Dillon media separator.
Right.
Just
that might be
tumble it in that and try to get as much out as I'm pretty sure it's all out, and then I've loaded.
The media separator might have been your saving grace because it probably knocked any media in the flash holes back out.
Yeah, I personally can't see with the corncob media being as big as it is that I'm using. It's a walnut corncob mix.
Right.
I can't see any of it getting stuck when the primer's in there versus how it does when there's nothing in the primer pocket.
All I can tell you is from personal experience, I usually dry tumble mine before I start depriming it just to clean it up, get the worst of the carbon and the crap off of it. But I'm going to tell you that I've punched out old primers and had a piece of media sitting in the primer I just knocked out of the case.
Yep.
So sitting right on the anvil?
Yes. And like that may be a 1 in a million shot, but I'm telling you, I've seen it with my own two eyes. So I if you do it and it works for you, cool. But I would never recommend somebody. I've seen it happen, and it's not an old wives' tale.
I had a few rifle rounds not discharge, and when I got home, I tore them apart, and that's my problem. I had media in the flash hole, so I will never do that again.
Okay, well, I guess I won't do it anymore.
Thank you, Travis. We all feel better for that. No, I'm not making fun or anything like that. I take that very seriously. Yeah. Phil's right, Travis is right, and Mike's right. You know, you don't want to tumble your brass after you do anything with the primer. Whether it's, you do that, you want to take at least go through one of the stations on that 1050 with a universal decapper to knock that media out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jason said, he's torn apart some rifle ammo that he had media in the flash hole. And Jason, in that particular instance, did you literally tumble your brass with a live primer inside?
No, tumbled brass. I did not check the flash hole.
So you tumbled your brass after you decapped. You had
Correct.
to.
Correct.
Before you reprimed.
Correct.
Okay.
So now everything gets looked at every time.
Yeah, see what you're talking about, Jason. On my 1050, I've got a universal decapping die, because when I do have no primers in there, I do get stuck corncob media in there for sure. So I do run that in the first station to make sure there's absolutely nothing in that primer pocket. But I have tumbled it with live primers in there, and I haven't had any issues. But like I've heard Jim say, we all learn from our mistakes. So for Jim, I won't do it anymore.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Well, if you're just sitting out on the range with your buddies, it ain't no big deal. But if it's a hunt of a lifetime or survival or whatever, it's not necessary to take that chance.
Well, the other thing is too, like Jason's talking about, you want your ammunition reliable, and we're building ammunition that's supposed to be better for us than factory ammo. So why take that chance of creating ammunition that is slightly defective, or maybe a slightly inferior would be a better term, simply because we're not sure if it's going to go off. If you got a bad primer, you got a bad primer. There's nothing we could do about that. But Jason had a flash hole obstruction. That was Jason's fault. He knows that, and he didn't make the ammunition as reliable as he could possibly have if he'd had just taken the time to inspect that flash hole.
Or in my case, I can tell you from personal experience that a hang fire or a squib is the absolute scariest thing you can ever go through as a reloader, at least from my perspective. Nothing will make you pucker up faster or harder than listening to that click and wondering if something's about to happen or not, and counting and waiting.
In my case, go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
Well, and the problem is, like, if in Jason's analogy, if you're hunting, you don't have time to sit here and wait to see if you're going to have a hang fire. You have to jack the round out of the chamber and put another one in. If that's not a squib and that's a hang fire, and you pop that round out of the chamber, you're now standing next to a small hand grenade. So, I mean, to me, I don't know. That is the only thing about reloading that has ever and ever will give me a serious case of the willies, is the possibility of a hang fire or a squib. It is probably what makes my OCD as bad as it is, because I just want to avoid that at all costs. So even if it's a small thing, and even if you could load 1 million rounds and never have it happen, the possibility of getting one kernel of media stuck on a flash hole is enough for me to change my reloading practice, because I won't go through it if I can avoid it.
Good. What I was going to say is I had a squib. A couple times ago when I was shooting my 40, had a squib load go off and drove the bullet up into the rifling. I knew that there was something wrong. The round popped, but I knew there was something wrong. I was immediately stopped. And so I just, that was the end of my shooting for the day, because I had to go home and get a metal rod and drive the bullet back down out of the barrel.
Yeah, that's no fun. No fun at all.
Anyway.
So here's our last question of the night. David posted, after loading 50 rounds of 7 Rem Mag with 168 grain Match Kings over 70.3 grains of Vitivori N165, I'm wondering if I should pull them. Vitivori's manual says the max load is 70.7 grains. Thoughts? So my first thought, has he shot any? And is there any pressure signs?
Well, go ahead, Phil.
Go ahead. Nope, go ahead, Jim.
Well, my first thought is, why isn't he working his way up? Why is he starting near maximum loads instead of starting down at the bottom and work up a ladder load? Which goes hand in hand with one of the questions that Mike hasn't read. And that would be, is there any particular reason why you would shoot a lower velocity load as opposed to a higher velocity load? Well, that question is answered real simple. You can't miss him fast enough to kill him. You can't miss that target fast enough to put a hole in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one question I'd love to ask in this vein is, has David and are George considering doing ladder loads? Because I don't know what the range of powder loads is for 7 rem mag with Vitavore 165. But my first thought is, if the 70.3 grains is not a start charge, to me, this sounds harsh. You're wrong already.
I agree with you, Phil.
I am not a reloading genius, nor am I nor do I have the longevity of, Jim and Jason and Mike and Travis, but I am a decent student. And these 4 men, or these 3, and I'm sure Travis wouldn't argue with it, preached at the pulpit of start at your starting charge. It's a starting charge for a reason. Do not start at the top end of the range. Because the problem is, if your barrel is 1/1000th of an inch tighter on the rifling, if the chamber is a little bit tighter, if your throat's a little bit shorter, if your brass is a little bit thicker, any little thing can change the max pressure your particular combination develops. So what might be an acceptable below the maximum pressure load per the loading data you're using, with that gun, with that bullet, with that case, with that powder, it might not be reproducible in your gun. Something about your combination might be a little bit different, and that might be an overpressure round. That's why you start at the bottom, because that is the only way you can safely approach a max load, is carefully and slowly.
Well, Phil, the thing is, you got a very good point. Firearms are like fingerprints. No two are exactly the same.
Yeah, and I mean, I've learned it the hard way. I swapped out years ago in a different cartridge. I swapped out one manufacturer's bullet for another manufacturer's bullet, the same weight, both round nose bullets, same powder charge. And I'm telling you right here now, I got pressure signs on the second load. No reason it should have, same weight of bullet, but something was a little different. Come to look at it, when you held them side by side, you could see one of them had a longer bearing surface than the other.
Exactly.
But it's one of those little things. Intellectually, not thinking about all these little details, you could assume, well, if the book says it's safe, it's safe. But I'm gonna tell you now that when you're loading your own ammo, don't assume anything. Don't assume your rifle is exactly like the rifle that was used to produce that data, or the pressure barrel, which has very little to do with an actual rifle.
Well said, Grasshopper.
Yeah, so I don't want to sound preachy. I don't know. It makes me pucker when I hear somebody talk about start with a max load, because it turns my stomach. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and that's a good way to go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not above calling you stumpy if you blow a hand off either. So there's that.
What about if you burn skin on your knee or your foot?
I'll just make a joke about you being on your knees all the time. You can figure that one out.
Yep. Good joke.
Ding-a-ling, ding-dong, ding-dong.
Hey, just remember, you know when you're getting old when a person checks to see if you're okay before they start laughing at you when you hurt yourself. See, I'm still young enough that when I hurt myself, everybody just giggles a lot. But you get to an age where everybody's like, oh, are you okay?
Jim gets that question all the time just sitting there.
Well, if he'd stopped drooling on himself and staring off into space, we wouldn't think he was...
Carl, I'm going to tell you what. I think the way you use will last much longer. I'm gonna send some projectile down that way, down towards that New Orleans town. Go shoot that boy.
Hey, Travis, want to see a blast
Yeah.
from the past?
Oh boy.
Sure.
Check that out.
Oh man, that is an old one. So is it okay if I talk about something real quick?
Absolutely.
So I want to do something each week called product spotlight or something like that. So I've reached out to a bunch of people in the industry that I know, and I've got a bunch of stuff to give away to our listeners. So here is one item. This is going to be specific to Dylan. So for you guys that know what this is your powder check. It's got this little alarm up here. It's got this little rod that goes down, checks your powder. So for us guys that have multiple tool heads and only one or two of these, and you want to switch them, for different tool heads, it's kind of a pain to take that little bracket off. So right here, this is from Entirely Crimson. It's a nice CNC machined aluminum quick disconnect. So here's your die right here, your powder drop. Drop it on. Comes back off. Switch it between different tool heads. They were nice enough to donate quite a few items to us. So for all the listeners, I want you to email reloadingpodcast@gmail. I want you to tell Mike what press you have and what your favorite cartridge is, and we will pick one winner each week and send you guys something.
May I suggest that they put something in that you suggest? Ask them to put something in the subject line so that we know what particular.
Okay, so put email reloadingpodcast@gmail. Put in the description giveaway.
There you go.
And then put in there what press you use and what your favorite calibers to load for. And once a week until we run out of stuff to give away, somebody will be drawn and get something sent to them. I say once again, this is awesome. I think 2 or 3 episodes ago we had the same type of doodad on our hopper, but this is one that goes. This is only for your Dylan powder check. But they go to their site and they've got a whole bunch of other cool stuff on there, but that's from Entirely Crimson.
So once again, send that email to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, and in the subject line, put giveaway. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody who joined us live. We have 31 tonight. By the way, there's a rumor that one giveaway we might do in the near future is if we hit 100 live watchers of the live podcast, that we've got something we'll give away during that. So we've got 31 tonight. So we'll keep updating and letting everybody know how many we have each week. But if we hit 100 live video watchers, then we have something to give away for that too.
So Mike, I was just looking on YouTube.
Yep.
And there is Mr. Loads of Bacon on there himself.
Yep.
So I think that deserves another live giveaway tonight.
Cool.
What you going to give away, Travis?
It will be a surprise. So how did we do it last time, Mike? It was for the guys. It was for the guys listening, watching right now.
They would type in "enter me."
Sorry.
Okay, so put in "enter me," and we'll pick one of you guys again.
I take it the hosts are ineligible as usual.
Yes.
Jason's got a dirty mind.
You suck. You can't win.
Yeah,
Sorry.
maybe we should change. Maybe we should change that, Mike. I just realized.
About time. Oh my God, it's about time.
Did it on purpose.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Awesome.
Welcome to the team, Travis. Now you know what our world's been like. Jason's over there dying.
Tough crowd.
More than you know, Phil. Oh, Gemini.
So yeah. Yeah, I guess, the kind of the continuing theme for tonight's show is we do say a lot of double entendres, but that's beside the point. More importantly, safety first. Make sure you're using all your safety products. Regular glasses, like the ones I'm wearing right now, don't really cut it for safety glasses when you're casting. Preferably a full face visor is probably better. So that's one of those things that you need to think about. I use welding gloves for my gloves. You can get a welding apron, which works pretty well. So, and then obviously some boots of some sort, not like moon boots. Crap, probably half our listeners don't know what moon boots are. You don't want some sort of cheap boot. You want something made decent. I'm not saying you got to go out and buy the fancy work boots that actually have the reinforced protected tongue for professional welders or anything like that. But
just a decent pair of good boots. 6-inch boots, Mike.
Cowboy boots work well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the leather's going to stop the lead. You're going to get a little warm, but you're not going to get burned. Not like you would normally.
Like Wellington boots, just pull on work boots, something like that. Or a work shoe like this right here. Just a regular old work shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty beefy
The reason
for a
why-
guy.
Well, yeah. Well, the point is, though, you want a little bit of a high top. You don't want a low cut shoe because that's a perfect spot for the lead to find a little niche to rest against the insole of your foot.
That's why I wear flip flops, Jim. So it just rolls on off.
Travis, you're probably the same guy that goes to tend the lion cage wearing a friggin' sirloin bikini, I swear.
I think Jason's laughing is trying to tell you that from the voice of experience, Travis, you are a dummy.
I am not the most ballistically coefficient projectile, Jim. Yes.
Okay. Well said.
Sir, you are a wad cutter.
Ooh.
He's a double wad cutter.
Ooh, double-ended. Oh, geez.
It's so nice to see somebody besides me get abused.
You're usually the one doing the abusing, Phil.
I'm catching up with all y'all.
Like hell. He got you in the chest.
And this was the night that Jim stopped breathing because he Oh, good grief. Oh, I know what the problem is. Past Jim's bedtime. That's the problem.
Oh boy. Stop it, you guys. You're going to kill me. Oh, that's the whole point, huh? This is too good to be true. Oh.
Come on, Jim, get it together. Deep breaths.
I need rum.
Oh, Lord.
That's your fault.
No, I won't do it while I'm on the show. I told you guys that. I won't do it. Anyway, enough of that. Okay, we're done with the show notes, so I guess that's just about the end of the show.
Oh, we got to do the drawing yet. I'm entering names.
Oh, okay. My mistake. Actually, Hookem, I like Kraken. JBL 1221.
Like crack? What?
Kraken.
Andy says you like Alox.
Yeah, well, that's true. I do.
Did you look at his comment?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I choose to ignore his dumb
All
shit.
right. I get it.
I got it. It's not. I read it. But that just shows you the caliber of people we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Hookem.
Took him
He's the guy that you said had a point.
one time.
I thought that was the one on top.
I bet you said it in that particular instance. I bet you said it about 64,000 times.
That's the way I remember it.
Anyway, you gonna cut it off? When you gonna cut it off, Mike?
1 more minute.
60 seconds. Anybody else wants in on the giveaway? Please type in the 2 words. Enter me.
Oh, and right after the show, I'm going to post the 2 links for the products we talked about during 214 because I kind of forgot to do that. So,
Thanks, Mike.
oh, I finally got a chance to listen to the show and got the links. So I just didn't get a chance to post them last night. So, all right.
15 seconds. Hookem. He's heard it, I'm sure. Okay, that's it, Mike. 65 seconds.
All right.
I lost count.
All right. So we've got everybody who said enter me. And now we're going to see who gets entered. John is the winner. Notice I did include Carl, but it says can't share with Phil. So, but Carl didn't win. John did. So, John, I will need you to send me your email address or your regular address to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Oh, David was just a couple seconds too late. And that would be JOHN, as in John Atkinson, not JON. So, all right, folks. Oh, that's awesome.
Don't we get to know what John won?
Well, that's up to Travis if he wants to say.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you, Jason.
Okay.
Wow.
Big secret, huh?
So we want to thank everybody who's. We will post a list of the different companies starting next week in the show notes that have given stuff for the giveaways. So you kind of got an idea of what's coming, maybe. We won't post everything because, you know, Jim's favorite statement is a lady has to have her secrets. So we're going to keep.
Yeah, and we'll be giving stuff away until all this. I got a pile of stuff over there, and we'll give stuff away until it's all gone.
Yep. I want to take time to thank everybody who sends us emails and voice messages and text messages. Email address, once again, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. The text message / voicemail phone number is 608-467-0308. You can find us all on the interwebs, usually Facebook. We also have a podcast page on Instagram. I don't post as much as I should, but check us out. And I want to thank everybody who swings by firearmsradio.tv and hits up the Brownells and the Amazon links. That doesn't cost you any extra money, and it helps out the network. And I want to thank all of our Patreons. So, and just real grateful for everybody that helps us. They funded the purchase of the GoPro and to get that up and running so we can start giving you a better quality video. And then we just got to work on our end of it so we can not have so much dead air while we're doing this live. We're getting better. We do take out less dead air every week. So kind of working together, molding together. We're getting better. So, and just, I can't thank everybody enough that continues to tune in and listen every week. It's just awesome that we get to sit around and talk about reloading and stuff. So,
and tear each other up, but
yeah,
it's all in good fun.
Oh yeah.
If any one of us were to get serious about it, we wouldn't be on the next show.
Nope. So it's all in good fun. We all have a blast doing it. So, and
so just so you guys know, this is my last show.
Really? Really? Oh, you're gonna do now? No, I know you, Travis. You're just gonna be here next week just to piss me off.
He's probably going to be here next time just to piss me off.
Just remember, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Than to be peed on.
And on that note, you can't use it for cleaning brass, so you better get something better because you got to have that brass shiny.
And keep your powder dry.
Safety first.
You changed tagline, you dog.
Oh, Jesus. Buy it cheap and stack it deep.
And squeeze. Don't yank that trigger.
Squish it!